Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, good evening, grand rising. If you want to replay game, what's up to you all too? If this is your first time here, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for being back here today. It is me, Papa Seer, host, narrator, storyteller, and narrator of the number one Hoodoo Chill podcast. The Hoodoo Chill podcast, also, I guess, the face and the host behind this YouTube as well. And while I am new to YouTube, I am not new to this YouTube world. I am not new to this podcasting world. I am not new to these spiritual streets. I have been out here for a long time. I'm just trying to get my face out here on YouTube a little bit more. But anyway, today we are gonna have a good time today. I think. Anyway, I think I got some good stuff to bring to the table. It's been on my heart lately to really hone in on beginners, really to be a voice in your ear for those of you all that are new to the journey, for those of you all that are seeking to be a part of the Hoodoo community, or God has just put it on your heart that you're supposed to be here. It's truly been on my heart to just kind of pull up and talk to you all one-on-one, face-to-face, to give you really good advice, in my opinion. I think anyway. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you all have the notifications turned on. I really feel like that this channel is gonna grow expeditiously one day. And I want you all to be a part of that and help me with the success of this channel. So I'm not gonna waste no more time. We're gonna jump right on into it today. So I feel like I might as well just jump into my story because I feel like that will lead, walk me into what I want to talk about today. So I was in a Uber today, coming from an appointment that I had, and me and the guy, the Uber driver, we were talking, we were having a really, really good conversation, older white guy, whatever. And people love to ask me what I do for a living, because my time's kind of flexible, so to speak. And I told him, I work with YouTube. I'm also a spiritual leader, X on the third. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he started probing a little bit more because I said something about Black American spirituality. So he really was getting like, interested in what I was talking about. He said, "I asked this because I had this girl, she was Black American, and I had to drop her off and pick her up from a metaphysical shop, a botanica or whatever." And she said that she practiced, I'm repeating his words, you all. He said she told me that she practiced something. It wasn't voodoo, it was the other one. And I said, "Oh, hoodooism." He nodded his head, yeah. And he said that's when he started to go in. He said, "Man, she came out of the store with this doll and she was real upset about her baby daddy, and she was gonna do this and she was gonna do that." And instantly I'm just like, "Ugh, here we go again," And I don't want anybody to think that I'm judging her, because, and I know some of y'all might even think that I'm coming on this live today to like bash you, if you have, or if you thought about it, or even if you had to use hoodooism, on or against the significant other. I don't want anybody to think that like I'm coming here to bash anybody that I'm not. I'm really not today. That's not my intention at all. I just wanted to kind of walk beginners through some things before you get yourself into some trouble, or before you really put out a negative connotation on our community, before you even get a chance to really understand what this community can offer you or what it can bring back to you. Okay, so first and foremost, I want everybody to understand, like, I'm not trying to be anybody's enemy today, because I understand things happen, right? But back to this story or whatever, I didn't really feel like I had to like explain anything to this white guy, but for the sake of, I felt like, what if this was his only interaction with a so-called hoodooist? How do I kind of even somewhat band-aid this situation a little bit. And I just told him, I said, well, she obviously was going through something, but a lot of what we do is to heal and help people. And just like my grandmama would say, I do my work in the name of God. I do God's work, just trying to put a little bit of a band-aid on the situation. Not that I felt like I had to. But I bring this up because, obviously this was a beginner. And I can tell you every reason why I know this was a beginner and why I know this was a so-called baby hoodoo. Because first of all, you never tell anybody anything about what you're doing and how you're doing it. So now it's time to pull out y'all notebooks, okay? You never tell anybody anything about what you're doing, and definitely not how you're doing it. If the situation truly warranted that it was justified, and I can only talk to you all about hoodooism only from the perspective of how it's been given to me, and it's always been taught to me that the work has to be justified. Anything outside of that is witchcraft. That's what my godmama say. I'm gonna say what my godmama say. You all can debate with me in the comments. But let's say that this situation was justified. Let's say she truly went to God. She truly went to her ancestors and they say, yeah, this is what needs to happen. This is what needs to happen, right? Okay, cool. You do what you need to do. But the moment that you open up your mouth and you start talking about what spirit has only assigned you to do, you already start to break the foundation of your power. And let's say that you really did have to come against another person. The last thing that you want them to do, or the last thing you would want, is for them to find out what you're doing. That's not smart. That's not safe, and it's highly irresponsible. And 9 times out of 10, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's gonna fail. So a lot of you all suffer from this, myself included, when I was younger, when I wasn't as responsible as I am now, or where I am now. I used to talk too much too. And the reason why you all have word vomit, and I'm not beating you up about it, I'm trying to empower you today on how to become stronger and better in this, is because you're excited and you really don't know what you're doing. And what you're seeking is confirmation. You truly seeking for somebody to tell you that you did the right thing. Oh, you did it the right way. Oh, or you could have went and did it like this. That's what you seeking. Let's be honest. And don't feel ashamed about this, because you came here today to listen and you came here to learn. But what I'm trying to tell you is that that's not what you do. First and foremost, before you do anything, you should have consulted with God, your ancestors, some form of divination. At least somebody in the chat being honest. It's cool. Some form of divination to see if this work is even justified, or this is something you should be doing. There is absolutely nothing wrong with going to your elder, your mentor, or your godparent for advice and guidance before you do anything. Let me say that again. There is absolutely nothing wrong with going to your elder, your godparent, or your mentor before you do anything. If you are unsure, seek wisdom and seek advice from the person who should be teaching you this. Okay? A lot of you are overconfident, and I love your confidence. I love that you're not scared to get your hands dirty. I love that you want to be hands on, but we want you to be successful. We want this to be effective. We want this to work. We want you to be responsible. And so, what I say to you is, if you are a person who has the luxury of having counsel, God put that counsel in your life for a reason. You need to use it. You need to go to that person who's pouring into you. Now, let's talk about this whole using hoodooism against your significant other, your baby mother, your baby father, because this has come across my desk all the time. This is a conversation that is brought up a lot in spiritual spaces. And so I'm going to be fair in how I give my commentary on this today. I'm going to be very fair about it. All right. So, first things first, some of you all that are judging other people about having to go this route to fix a situation in their life, you need to stop being so judgmental because you're not in that person's situation. You're not living through it. And you don't understand the level of how this is affecting them, their life, their money, their livelihood, their health, their well being, or their child. Okay. So when people come to people like me, you have to understand that this is a last resort. That do this, I don't know what I'm going to do, or something really bad is going to happen. It should always be the last resort. So we're not judging anybody. But then I always say, before you have to go this route, did you go over your checklist of all of the things that you were supposed to do in the physical route first? Creating a justified situation, a reason why God would want to move in your favor. Ooh, that's so good right there. Y'all, ooh, if you a real one, you should have wrote that down or replay that right there, okay? A reason why God wants to work in your favor. Have you exhausted all of your options that God is giving you in the physical first before we reach out into the metaphysical? Meaning, have you and your baby father or baby mother, have y'all gone through counseling? Have you all tried to talk this out? Are you both trying or attempting to be amicable to one another, right? Or are y'all just constantly fighting each other? Are you throwing more gasoline on a situation? Are you doing anything to try to make this better? Because here's the truth about why some of this stuff fails and why a lot of times when people use hoodooism, it doesn't work. It was because it's not in your favor. God's not working for you in your favor. Your ancestors do not agree with what you are doing. Your ancestors say absolutely not, because you are the cause of the reason why this is happening in your life. Truth is, sometimes when we bring stuff on ourselves, you got to sit in your own shit. That's fact. But let's flip the script on it. When you have done all of the things that you are supposed to do and you are being amicable in this situation and you have somebody antagonizing you, they refuse to have what some people like to call a come to Jesus moment. They refuse to meet you in the crossroads. There's a refusal on all ends and on all spectrums. That is when you need to come over here. Because in that situation is when ancestors will move on your favor. That is when you can drop to your knees and you can pray. Okay. First of all, one of the things about hoodooism, you all have to learn how to pray first before you touch anything. I pray to convict my own ancestors. I will bring up in my prayers every single thing that I did and why you will come down and help me, why you will get up and help me, why you will give me the energy that I need, why you will give me the power that I need. I'm going to go over every single thing that I have done in the physical first. Prayer is powerful work in this work. You approach your ancestors, you approach and let them know, I am at my wit's end. I'm doing what I am supposed to do. And it's not working. I'm asking you to give me your blessing, your power, your strength, because we are going to fix this situation. Where do you think the word fix comes from in hoodooism? It's not about tearing people's lives down. It's not about causing havoc. It's about fixing things that need to be set right. Justice, putting justice back where it needs to be. Truth is, and I hate to admit it, some of you are very justified in what you feel and what your significant other is bringing you to do. Hoodooism is not just about how you can harm someone. And this is where I am going to have to be Papa, and I am going to have to bring you back into the light. Because it's not the problem that you want to go to Hoodooism to fix the situation. That's what it's there for. That's why God put this power into your path, because you're supposed to use it, right? But it's more than one way to skin a cat. Why does your mind automatically go towards doing something baneful? Why do you automatically go towards doing something harmful? Why is it your first instinct to hurt someone because you are hurt? Now, that's a deeper question of self-reflection that you're going to have to, look into outside yourself. Because hoodoo is not bad. It's what you choose to do with it that makes this evil. What repulses people, will turn people off to this and call it witchcraft and call it all of those different things. It's the intention of the practitioner. Because hoodooism is more than just putting somebody in a jar. That whole jar thing, anybody out here telling you to put somebody in a jar really don't know too much. I say it again. Anybody out here telling you to put somebody in a jar don't know too much about this. That's some new age, whatever stuff they brought up in here. My grandma would not use her good jars on putting somebody in one of them. I'm not using one of my good jars for that. There's other things that you can do. Way more powerful and way more effective. I hear women come to me and they say, my baby daddy, he don't do nothing for the child. He broke, he this, he ain't got no job, he this and he that. And I said, well, how many times have you ritualized his success? When did you go to your ancestors and ask them to bless him with the income that he needs to take care of your child? When was the last time that you hugged them with a little bit of your prosperity oil on your hands, and when you touched him, you transferred that blessing onto him, instead of walking around here so upset and so vainful? Because you being upset about him not having no money is not putting none in his pocket, and it's definitely not getting your child anything. You're just upset. You're just anxious. You're just walking around with anxiety. You're pissed off. When are you going to use your work to change a life? And then show me how powerful you really are. Come to me and say, Papa Seer, my baby daddy had nothing. Not a thing. He was a deadbeat, a lowlife. I went to my altar and I transformed that man into the best father that he can be. Look at what he did for my children for Christmas, and look at what he does for them every single day, not just financial, but with his time and just showing up. When do we change the narrative? And it always has to be something baneful, because you could hurt your baby daddy. And then what happens when he can't go to work no more? Because hoodoo does hurt people. What happens when you do something to him and he break his legs, break his back, and he can't be no good for nobody, let alone your child? Father never gonna go out there and play basketball with him, throw the football with him, nothing. Because of something you did because you was pissed off. I don't want especially Black women to feel like they are being unheard when it comes to the struggles that you all have, especially like as a single mom or anything like that. What I want you to realize is that your power is versatile. That you are a born creator. And you have the power to put somebody up and put them down just as well. But God tell us to lift people up more than he say put somebody down. And all of that energy and all of that rage that you feel because you want change and because you want something better for your child, because most of the time the mother's plight or the father's plight has nothing to do with them. They be so far past wanting a relationship or anything with you. Is more so about how this is affecting the child, is where the rage and the anxiety and where it really will bring you to your tipping point comes from. That is also power if you alchemize it as such. As I've told all of you many times on the podcast, your greatest power gonna be birthed through trauma, anxiety, when your back is against the wall and when things are not going the way that you want it to go. I have seen women in my own group, in my own circle, literally transform their relationships with the fathers of their children, whether they were with them or not, using hoodooism, using methods of healing versus methods of vainfulness and just wanting to hurt someone. Again, I applaud you for even thinking that your spirituality was an avenue for you to fix your life, because that's what it's supposed to be. But I also want to respect you for how you use this to change the situation. Now, are there times when something vainful, or I guess what y'all would say hurtful, has to be done? I would say yes, absolutely, 100%. There are absolutely times when this work might have to be used in a way that could potentially harm someone based upon the things that they have done to someone else. Now, I want y'all to understand, and I want y'all to hear me about when we have to do things like this. First and foremost, God gave you authority to do so. Reason being is not even so much because of what happened to you. It's not so much of what happened to you. You are able to do this work because it is to avoid it happening, whatever they did to you, on somebody else. It's about being preventative and not necessarily just about your plight and you. No, we're going to stop this person because we don't want this to happen to somebody else. We don't want them to continue to go out here and just continually sowing seeds of destruction, sowing seeds of malice. So God gave you authority to do this. And when are these situations even worth it? Well, first and foremost, I feel like this: if they have done something to the child, SA on the child, any type of abuse, that absolutely, absolutely, I will be the one to do it, because a lot of time that's unforgivable. And if you do that to your own seed, you're gonna do it to somebody else. Somebody does need to put you down, and somebody does need to stop you before you go out here and continue to be a menace to society. That is when absolutely, yeah, we have to do what we have to do. But because two people can't get along, or because one person isn't doing what you want them to do, or because one person isn't meeting your expectations, I've seen people really use this to do some evil stuff, when it's like, that was something going on between you two. And it didn't even require all of that. You're just upset because you can't control another person. You're upset. This really has nothing to do with hoodooism. It's more so about you not being able to let go of control. And I would say to anybody that's a beginner on this, because I think one of the worst reasons in the world to join or study or become a part of this is because you want revenge on your baby mother, your baby father, I think that's the worst reason. And if you are here for that reason, I pray to you to seek an experience with the Holy Spirit, that God will open up a different path, a reason for you being here, because that's a bad reason to be here. You shouldn't be here for that at all. You know, um, I do believe that spirit might have brought you here to fix and correct some generational trauma between you and your significant other, or your mother, or the father of your child. I do believe that God will bring you here for that, but understand that that might be why you were brought here, but that's not going to be the reason why God keeps you here. And I also want you all to understand too that don't limit your power. Don't limit what you are capable of, because sometimes I've seen students with so much potential, so much good to give to other people, but their minds get so wrapped up in toxicity of someone else, that the gifts that spirit is really trying to unlock for you, it won't happen because you are hyper fixated on somebody else. You don't allow yourself enough room to grow and for your gifts to transform and to come into something else. So, with all of that said, I hope my words were able to inspire thought in some of you, who are over encumbered with a lot of emotions. I don't want you to toxify your journey into hoodooism. I really don't. I don't want what could be for you to be overshadowed by your anxiety and by a situation. I don't want that for you. It's so much more that God has in store for you. It's so much more than your ancestors has in store for you. And the truth of the matter is, you hold the power to fix that situation. You hold the power to do so. And even if you can't change another person, right? God will, honestly, this gift that spirit is trying to give you will open up doors where you will have more than what you need, that you won't even need him or her. Your ancestors will show you grace. And I have seen that the mothering spirits of hoodooism, the mothers, okay, some of y'all might lama, mammy, whatever, right? I just say the mothers of this, they have a lot of grace for single women, single fathers, a lot of grace. I've seen them move mountains for a woman who is a part of this community and had no help. Then she had all of the resources. Never looked to that man for nothing else. And if he did do something for the child, it was a blessing, but she didn't need him anymore. I have seen the mother spirits of this community release and break those shackles of you needing anyone to do anything. But then I've also seen them come down on these fathers and these mothers like weights of conviction. And when you pray the hoodoo prayers, and when you want to see change in the mother and the father, that is the prayer that you pray. You ask your ancestors to sit on their neck like weights of conviction. And don't move until they feel what you are understanding, until they feel the pain that your child is feeling. All of the time that they've taken away from your child that they didn't give, spirit restrict their time. Everything that your child has missed out on, make sure that they miss out on the same thing. Every meal that your child that you couldn't provide for my son, you miss out on something too. Every dollar that he couldn't get, take it away from his bank account. These are how hoodoos pray. You see, I didn't tell y'all about lighting no candles. You see, I didn't tell you about grabbing no roots. You see, I didn't give you 15 ingredients. I told you how to open up your mouth and make your ancestors come down here and do something. Some of y'all see no results because you don't know how to open up your mouth. This right here emits vibrations. This right here can wake the dead if you allow it to. All of that's going on up in here, let it come out of here and direct them prayers where they need to go. I'm so tired of people trying to put spells and incantations and all of these things in y'all hands. And then when y'all come to me and I say, okay, well, let's pray. You don't know what to say, but you got all of the spells. You got all of the books. You got all of the tools, every tarot card, every this, every that, every class. But you cannot open up your mouth and talk to your ancestors and say where you need change in your own life. And this is not just isolated to baby mothers and baby fathers. Let's go for everything in your life. Some of y'all need to put them cranks. Some of y'all really need to put the tools down and open up your mouth. Build this up right here. This is one of the greatest assets God is giving you as a hoodoo, is to being able to speak it and make things happen. I'm just looking at you all's comments right now. And I just want to say thank you. Shout out to the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I think I'm about to get up out of here too. You know, I just want to come on here and just drop some knowledge on y'all today and just show my face on here. As always, if my words did anything for you, you know, we love donations. Donations keep our community alive. Donations give me the ability to be able to come on here and do what I love. Make sure you all follow me on Instagram, Papa Seer. If you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so too. And like I said, I'm just trying to get more comfortable coming on live for you all and just talking about stuff and just giving y'all a little pick me up anytime I feel like you need something, you know? So I will catch you all the next time on here. And as always, I send you out in love, life, peace, prosperity, most importantly, protections. May the ancestors open up all the roads for you. May your hands be like gold. May everything you touch materializes if it were gold, my people. And with that, I release you into the atmosphere.